Hello, Flawless family. We are happy to once again be joined by Brooks Kenny. Brooks is the Executive Director of Women's Against Alzheimer's and is here to talk about the official launch of BrainGuide by Us Against Alzheimer's. So thank you for once again joining us, Brooks.
Hey Trey, it's so great to be with you again. Thanks for having me.
Of course, it's my pleasure. So it's been a while since we've last spoken. So how are you really doing right now?
Yeah, it's hard to believe it's been almost a year. We are doing okay. I have to say, I'm very blessed. Our family's healthy. We're starting to get vaccinated, still, dealing with the challenges of virtual school and limited activities. But I have to say, I feel like we're rounding the corner. We certainly have had our ups and downs as most families experience during this time, but I'm feeling blessed that we're healthy and that things are starting to open up.
Right. Yeah, it seems like we're getting back to normal. So there's a lot to be optimistic about. And something else to be optimistic and hopeful about is, something I mentioned before is the Us Against Alzheimer's recent launch of BrainGuide. So can you just tell us a little bit about what this is and, how it serves people?
Absolutely. We are so excited about Brain Guide by Us Against Alzheimer's. It's a new platform that includes confidential memory questionnaires that you can take for yourself or you can take on behalf of a loved one. And the results of those questionnaires include a set of curated resources based on your answers and really tailored to the unique needs that you might have. So, whether someone is just perhaps worried about their own brain health or that of a loved one, someone that's experiencing mild cognitive impairment, or someone that's caring for a loved one with memory issues, you can come to mybrainguide.org. You can fill out one of the questionnaires via a web bot. You can also access it via a toll-free phone number, 1-855 brain 411, and you can experience the questionnaires through a voice bot, which is a pretty interesting and cool way to access the service. It's entirely free. It's available in both English and Spanish, and it's really designed to be accessible to all communities. All you need is a telephone or access to the internet to experience the resource.
Yeah. And I love hearing everything that you just said. And for anyone listening that just doesn't realize how revolutionary or amazing that this is, I mean, this is a really big deal. You guys were even featured on Good Morning America. So, I mean, let's just talk more about that opportunity. How did that come about, and how important is it to see a major network talking about brain health?
I know. I mean, I was really pinching myself. I could barely sleep the night before this segment was airing. Well, it's important to note that we built Brain Guide with medical experts. We started in September of last year, and we built it using data. We had a ton of market research for 6 months. We did both quantitative and qualitative research. We had people with memory issues and even with Alzheimer's, as well as caregivers, participate in one-on-one user interviews. So we watched them utilize the service and we watched their behavior. The technology was built by Amazon Web Services, so it's state-of-the-art technology. I mean, there were more than 100 people participating in the development and design of this platform. And so when we went to Good Morning America with this opportunity, they were really, I think, pretty surprised by some of the data, and this, Trey, I've said it before, 60% of cases of Alzheimer's go unrecognized, and this disease is the only disease in the top 10 leading causes of death for which there is no cure or treatment. And yet we're not diagnosing it early. We're not helping families get the care they need when they need it. And so I think it was a compelling argument to Good Morning America, and I really applaud them for embracing this and gating a pretty significant segment to Brain Guide and to the wonderful people that helped us create it. Doreen Monks was featured, as well as Brian Van Buren, both of whom are living with Alzheimer's disease. And so it was a very special moment. We often think about when you think about heart disease, when you think about cancer, the voice of the patient is often front and center. It's not as it's not the same in Alzheimer's disease. We don't often see people living with a disease talking about it, talking about, if you are diagnosed early, you can thrive, you can get the support you need from friends and family in your community. And I'm just so grateful to both of them for sharing their stories, because and then having an outlet like Good Morning America bring that story to life, to millions of viewers. That's what we need to do. It really needs to start with more conversations. We want to talk to as many people as we can so that the stigma can be removed from this disease, and we can start taking action early.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, just hearing the passion in your voice, it just, you definitely really deserve the opportunity and the notoriety that you're getting. Just hearing all the effort and resources that were put into this is just amazing. But your organization has always done so much great work for brain health, and you all offer numerous resources. So I feel like you touched on this a little bit, but what was the motivation behind creating, specifically the Brain Guide project? Like how did this come about specifically?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, at Us Against Alzheimer's, we focus on tackling the toughest problems in the disease. And we really believe that unlocking early detection and diagnosis is critical to overcoming Alzheimer's. And so, as you know, because I think you featured us, we started with a consumer facing campaign called Be Brain Powerful. And Be Brain Powerful includes a number of brain health challenges to get people thinking about their brain health. We want people to think about their brain as a vital organ and start thinking about the lifestyle behaviors they can take in order to protect their brain. And that project was successful. We were focused first on women, and we were testing a model. And I would like to kind of think about BrainGuide as an expansion of that consumer facing work, where we are now really emphasizing all communities. We're focusing on men and women. The brain health challenges are actually another tool and resource included in the Brain Guide platform. Our focus is we are really focused on reaching minority communities. And this has always been part of the DNA of Us Against Alzheimer's. How can we crack the code around early intervention? We believe we can do that through the lens of brain health to normalize these conversations. I mean, imagine a world where we talked about changes in our memory, just like we might talk about changes in our weight or changes in our stress levels, or anything that goes on with our health and wellness. You all do such an amazing job trying to get people to talk about mental health in a way that is not stigmatized. And I think brain health is still a little bit behind the mental health movement, in that we don't talk about our memory. We don't address that. Patients tell us, or people tell us, that they don't want to raise the topic with their doctor. They don't know how to do it. We know providers don't often have something they can say to their patients around memory issues. And we want to change that. And we've been committed to doing that. And I think a platform like BrainGuide can serve to support consumers and also hopefully providers as well. And we're just thrilled at the opportunity to bring this free resource to hopefully millions of people. We have big goals, Trey. I got to tell you.
Hear that, and I love hearing that, and I love the work that you all do, because it's just so important, so necessary now, and just so much that you were just saying in terms of like trying to get connected to people, trying to get people to understand, how important this is, how your brain health and your physical health are connected. Mental health is health. You know what I mean? And
Right.
and it just goes to show like so much of what we do here, so much of what you're doing over there. It's just such important work, but it makes me think about those who are watching right now, and what would you say to someone watching and that's thinking to themselves or wondering, how do I know that the Brain Guide is the right step for me or my loved one right now? We're talking about getting these resources out to people. If someone's watching and saying like, well, I don't know if it's for me, I don't know if it's for my mother or my father or my aunt, what would you say to them?
Yeah, it's a great question. I would say Brain Guide is right for all communities, for anyone, whether you are worried about your brain health, whether you're wondering what you can do to live a brain healthy lifestyle, whether you are noticing changes in your loved one, whether you want to just prepare your older parent or relative to have that conversation. BrainGuide allows you to access this information in a very private way. So we've heard from a lot of people that have said, I can just call this 800 number and go through the memory questionnaire, and I can do that privately, and then I can get the results, and you get a fact sheet that you can print and bring to your provider, or you can print and bring to a family member that's you trust to have that conversation. So I would say anyone that's worried, and let's face it, we know that even though it's the least talked about issue in our healthcare conversations, we know that people, especially 50 plus, this is their biggest worry, is cognitive decline. And so this is a safe place. It's anonymous. We do not keep anybody's data, and you're able to, under 10 minutes, go through a memory questionnaire and get some information to help you on the next step in your journey. I want to also emphasize, this is not a diagnostic. So you're not getting a diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease or any other disease. Only a doctor can do that with more information. But it's a first step, right? And we often say, let's just take the first step, because it can be overwhelming to be thinking about your brain health, no matter where you are on your journey. But this can be an easy, accessible, safe first step. And I don't know if I mentioned, but it is available in English and in Spanish, and you can access it. You don't have to set up an account or anything. You just literally go to mybrainguide.org or call 855-BRAIN-411. So I would encourage anyone that is intrigued by this to, give it a shot and see if it's helpful to you.
No, and that's awesome. But let's say in the event that caregiver or someone that is experiencing these challenges, they're just not ready for it, or they just don't find BrainGuide to be a fit for them. What are the alternatives? What other resources do you have available for someone like that to still get the help that they need?
That's a great question. So if you go to mybrainguide.org, there are educational resources for you there. Everything from understanding brain health to the importance of screening, detection, and diagnosis, caregiver resources, links to local resource and referral. We collaborate with the National Association of Area Agencies on Aging, which I know is a mouthful, but they have a great resource called the Elder Care Locator, which we point you to as well. And we partner with a number of chapters that serve Alzheimer's communities at the state level. So there's a lot of there are many resources there for you, even if you don't want to take the memory questionnaire.
So, and while the majority of our conversation has been surrounded around how, brain health is important, especially for those with these specific mental health challenges like Alzheimer's, but the reality is brain health is important for all of us. So, what are some brain health tips that you have that everyone, no matter age or ethnicity, could practice?
You're so right. Brain health. I mean, you should hear me in my kitchen with my kids. Every time I give them salmon and vegetables, I remind them that it's good for their brain. I want our younger generations to be thinking about their brain health just like they're thinking about their heart health. It starts with nutrition, right? I mean, having a low fat diet, lean proteins, green leafy veggies. The Mediterranean diet is often referred to as a really positive, brain healthy step you can take. Exercise is critical. There's new data that shows rigorous exercise multiple times a week can lower your risk of cognitive decline. Sleep is critically important, that you get consistent hours of sleep. And I mean, I think there's some really interesting new studies out around sleep. Reducing stress. Of course, we know stress is a big factor, especially now. I think in this past year, it's been a really stressful year for folks, but doing things that can lower your stress levels, like mindfulness, meditation, even just deep breathing, anything you can do to mitigate your stress. Social isolation is also a factor, and I know that's increasingly difficult as we're in a pandemic. And there's a lot of hope now that we're going to be able to be back together, but even just encouraging people to check in with friends, check in with loved ones as often as you can, and controlling your risk, keeping, not smoking, moderation when it comes to alcohol, monitoring, if you do have high blood pressure, all of the diabetes, any other risk factors that you have can contribute to cognitive decline. So, a healthy lifestyle, managing stress, managing risk can really make an impact on your brain health. And I hope that generations, all generations will start paying attention.
Yeah, I 100% want to echo everything that you just said, especially being that April, we're in the midst of Stress Awareness Month. So it's a great time for all of those tips. And some of those that I do practice, that encourages me to keep going. Some of those I'm writing down mentally in my head to try out. Um,
Yep.
so thank you for that. And my last question is, as you know, we have this concept of a flawless world. And for me personally, a flawless world is just one with more compassionate people who are just, in the world together with one another. We're thinking about one another. And, I have great hope that we're moving towards a more flawless world because of empathetic individuals like yourself and others that are working with your organization, Us Against Alzheimer's. But, for you, what's giving you hope that we're moving towards a more flawless world, whatever that version of flawless world is for you?
Yeah, it's such a lovely question. And I really just adore your organization and the vision that you have. I have to say, right now, I would say this experience, during a pandemic, building this platform that has the potential to reach millions of people. And we did it in collaboration with, as I said, more than 100 people from many different organizations across the country. And we did it virtually. Every day we met, multiple times a day. We spoke with so many experts, so many people that have been touched by Alzheimer's who helped to influence this platform. And I was just so inspired by the creativity of the team, the work ethic of the team. And truly, every single week when we would have our kind of our summary, our review of the work, we always started with our North Star, and we started with our focus on supporting the millions of people who are impacted by Alzheimer's disease. And that was our driving force. And when I tell you, Trey, I mean, there are almost 100 people working on this. We had a playlist that we would blast on the weekends when we were working weekends. And I just was so inspired by people's motivation to come together in a really short amount of time and build something that's hopefully going to spark these early conversations and get more people the help that they need. So I have to say, this was a highlight. Building this and leading this group was a highlight, for me personally. And I think for Us Against Alzheimer's, the opportunity is one that, we really cherish. And I'm just so inspired by the group that we worked with.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then that, even just hearing that just gives me more hope towards the future. But thank you, Brooks. Thank you for being your flawless self. For those watching, if you want more from Brooks and Us Against Alzheimer's, and to learn more about the BrainGuide, we'll have all the information in the description for you all. But other than that, thank you, Brooks, and have a flawless rest of your day.
Thank you so much. Thanks again for having me.